Welcome back, everyone. Today, I want you to imagine a classic Hollywood Western scene. Picture the scorching hot sun, a dusty, deserted street, and the sound of a lone eagle crying in the distance. Usually, in these movies, we see a duel. Two cowboys standing back to back, walking 10 paces, turning, and firing. In a duel, the rules of survival are incredibly simple, right? The fastest, most accurate shooter survives. It is a straightforward test of skill. The strong survive, and the weak perish. That is how the world works. But what happens if we add just one more person to this standoff? What happens when a duel becomes a truel, a three-way gunfight? Logic tells us that the best shooter should still have the highest chance of walking away alive. But game theory, the science of strategy and decision-making, tells us something completely different. It reveals a mind-bending paradox that blows people's minds. In a three-way standoff, the person with the absolute worst aim, the clumsiest, most terrible shooter of the group, actually has the highest probability of surviving. Wait, what? How is that even remotely possible? How can being completely incompetent actually become your greatest advantage? Today, we are going to break down the Truel Paradox. To understand this, we need to set up our game. Let's introduce our three players. First, we have Alex the Ace. Alex is an elite sniper. He is cold, calculating, and perfect. If Alex aims at you, it is game over. He never misses. His accuracy is absolute perfection. Next, we have Bob the Brawler. Bob is a very good shot, but he is not quite perfect. He hits his target most of the time, but occasionally his hand shakes and he misses. He is dangerous, but he is not a guaranteed lethal threat like Alex. Finally, we have Charlie the Clumsy. Charlie is terrible. He has never held a weapon before today. He is nervous, he is shaking, and his aim is absolutely awful. If he tries to shoot a barn from the inside, he might miss. He rarely hits his target. Now, they're standing in a triangle. To make the game fair, they agree to take turns firing one single shot at a time. And because Charlie is the absolute worst, they agree to let him go first. Then Bob gets a turn. Then Alex gets a turn. And they keep going in a circle until only one person is left standing. So the game begins. The spotlight is on Charlie. It is his turn to shoot. He raises his weapon. Put yourself in Charlie's shoes right now. You are the worst player here. You are looking at Alex, who never misses, and Bob, who is heavily armed and dangerous. What is your instinct? Human instinct and basic common sense screams at you to eliminate the biggest threat. Most people, when put in this situation, will say, Charlie should aim at Alex. Alex is the ace. If Alex gets a turn, somebody's going down. I have to take out the strongest player. Okay, let's play out that scenario. Let's say Charlie aims at Alex the ace. Because Charlie's a terrible shot, he will probably miss. If he misses, he has just wasted his turn. Now it is Bob's turn. Who is Bob going to shoot at? Bob is going to look at Alex the ace, realize Alex is a massive threat, and Bob will shoot at Alex. But what if Charlie actually gets incredibly lucky? What if Charlie aims at Alex the ace, and by some miracle, he actually hits him? Alex is eliminated. Charlie pumps his fist in the air. He did it. He took down the giant. But wait. Let's pause and look at the board. Alex is gone. Now whose turn is it? It is Bob's turn. And who is the only person left for Bob to shoot at? It's Charlie. Bob, the experienced brawler, is now going to aim right at Charlie. And remember, Bob is a very good shot. Charlie is now standing alone against a superior opponent who gets to shoot first. Charlie's chances of survival just plummeted to almost nothing. Do you see the trap? By successfully eliminating the biggest threat, Charlie actually signed his own death warrant. He forced the second best player to focus entirely on him. Okay, so shooting the best player is a terrible idea. What if Charlie shoots at Bob instead? Let's imagine Charlie gets lucky again and eliminates Bob. What happens next? Now it is Alex the ace's turn. Alex never misses. And the only target left is Charlie. Boom! Charlie is done. This is the ultimate dilemma. If Charlie aims at the best player and hits, he dies. If Charlie aims at the second best player and hits, he dies. If Charlie tries to participate in this fight, he is punished for it. So, what on earth is Charlie supposed to do? This brings us to the brilliant, counterintuitive secret of the Truel Paradox. When it is Charlie's turn, he should aim his weapon straight up into the air and fire at the clouds. Or he should purposefully aim at the dirt. He needs to intentionally miss. He must waste his turn completely. Why? Let's look at the psychology of the board after Charlie wastes his turn. Charlie is just fired into the air. Now it is Bob's turn. Bob looks around. Bob sees Charlie, the clumsy fool who can't even aim straight. And Bob sees Alex, the deadly sniper who never misses. Who is Bob going to shoot? Bob completely ignores Charlie. Charlie is not a threat. Bob knows that if he does not eliminate Alex right now, Alex will eliminate him on the very next turn. Bob is forced by the sheer terror of survival to aim at Alex. And what if Bob misses? Then it is Alex's turn. Who does Alex shoot? Alex looks at Charlie, who is staring at the sky, and Bob, who just tried to take his head off. Alex will absolutely shoot Bob. Do you see what is happening here? Because Alex and Bob are so highly skilled, they are massive threats to each other. Their strength is actually their greatest weakness. Their high skill levels lock them into a fatal rivalry. They are entirely focused on destroying one another, which means they completely ignore the weak, clumsy guy standing in the corner. Charlie simply stands there, watching the two titans fight it out. Eventually, one of the titans will win. Let's say Alex eliminates Bob. Now look at the situation. It is just Alex and Charlie left. But whose turn is it? Because Alex just fired the shot that ended Bob, the rotation continues. It is now Charlie's turn again. Charlie, the absolute worst player in the game, has magically maneuvered himself into the best possible position. He gets the very first shot in a one-on-one duel against the tired survivor. He didn't win because he was strong. He won because he leveraged his weakness to make his enemies destroy each other. His lack of threat level was his ultimate armor. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that is a fun thought experiment, but it's just a puzzle. This doesn't happen in real life. Oh, but it does. It happens everywhere, every single day. Let's start with a fun, obvious example. Reality television. Think about shows like Survivor or Big Brother. At the beginning of the season, there is always an alpha player. The person who is incredibly athletic wins all the physical challenges, provides food, and builds the shelter. They are undeniably the strongest player. There is also usually a mastermind, someone who is highly strategic, incredibly social, and manipulative. And then there is the quiet person. The person who isn't great at challenges, who doesn't lead the tribe, who just quietly sits in the background weaving palm fronds. The Charlie. What inevitably happens halfway through the season. The alpha and the mastermind look at each other and realize, I cannot beat you in the finale. They start aggressively targeting each other. They rally the troops, they cause massive drama, and they wage war. While the Titans are distracted destroying each other, the quiet, weak player simply floats by. They vote with the majority, they don't make waves, and they survive week after week. Before you know it, the strong players have completely wiped each other out, and the quiet, under-the-radar player finds themselves sitting in the final three and often walking away with $1 million. They didn't win by fighting. They won by deliberately avoiding the spotlight and letting the heavyweights cancel each other out. This is the Truel strategy in pure, unadulterated action. But let's take it a step further into something with billions of dollars on the line, the business world. Corporate history is filled with massive companies that destroyed themselves while a weak startup stole the crown. Think back to the late 1990s and early 2000s. The video rental industry was dominated by a massive, terrifying giant, Blockbuster Video. Blockbuster was the Alex the Ace of the industry. They had thousands of stores, massive cash flow, and total brand dominance. Their biggest competitor was Hollywood Video. Hollywood Video was the Bob the Brawler. Not quite as big as Blockbuster, but still a massive corporation fighting tooth and nail for market share. Blockbuster and Hollywood Video spent years brutally fighting each other. They opened stores directly across the street from one another. They spent millions on aggressive advertising campaigns trying to steal each other's customers. They were locked in a death match. And while these two giants were punching each other in the face, a tiny, clumsy little startup named Netflix appeared. In the beginning, Netflix was Charlie. They mailed DVDs in red envelopes. It was a slow, clunky service. It took days to get a movie. Compared to walking into a Blockbuster and getting a movie instantly, Netflix was a terrible shot. Blockbuster actually had the chance to buy Netflix for pennies early on, but they laughed them out of the room. Why? Because Blockbuster didn't see Netflix as a threat. Blockbuster was entirely focused on their main rival, Hollywood Video. Because Netflix was perceived as weak and non-threatening, they were left completely alone. They used that quiet time, that lack of pressure, to build their infrastructure. They slowly transitioned to digital streaming. They improved their aim. By the time Blockbuster finally realized that Hollywood Video wasn't the real enemy, it was too late. Netflix had taken a first shot in the new digital era, and they didn't miss. Blockbuster went bankrupt, and the weakest player ended up conquering the entire entertainment industry. We even see this coded into the biology of the animal kingdom. Evolutionary biologists call it the sneaker male strategy. Imagine a beach full of elephant seals or a river full of salmon. You have the massive, aggressive alpha males. They are huge, they have giant tusks or teeth, and they spend all their energy brutally fighting each other for territory and the right to mate. But while the two massive alphas are busy tearing each other apart, distracted by their own war, smaller, weaker males, the sneaker males, will quietly slip around the fighting giants, sneak into the territory, and mate with the females. The alphas are so threatened by each other's strength that they completely ignore the smaller males. Through the lens of evolution, the weak males often successfully pass on their genes precisely because they avoid the dangerous, attention-grabbing battles of the strong. So, what is the ultimate lesson of the Truel Paradox? What can we take away from Charlie the Clumsy, reality TV winners, and Netflix? The lesson is that strength is relative and attention is a liability. In our society, we are constantly told to be the loudest, the strongest, and the most aggressive. We're told to flex our muscles and show the world how great we are. But the Truel Paradox teaches us that sometimes flashing your strength is the most dangerous thing you can do. It makes you a target. It draws the fire of everyone else who wants to be on top. Sometimes, the smartest move you can make is to put your ego aside, to intentionally appear unthreatening, to shoot your bullet into the air and let your competitors exhaust their resources fighting each other. True strategy isn't just about knowing how to strike. It is about knowing when to let others strike each other. So, the next time you find yourself in a highly competitive environment, whether it is a cutthroat office, a crowded marketplace, or just a heated argument among friends, remember Charlie. You don't always need to be the loudest or the most aggressive person in the room to win. Sometimes the best way to win the gunfight is to just look at the clouds, stay out of the way, and let the giants fall. Thank you for listening. Stay curious, stay strategic, and I will see you in the next video.